Hello everybody and welcome back. So we're going to continue in this, and I just realized I made it like this. So this is kind of the manual way to do it, and I really like to have it modular like this, because now when we change the size it will be dynamic. But you also have I don't recall the node at the moment, but it's some kind of box. Set position, I don't know. No, I forgot the name now, but there is a node where you can use instead of doing this setup. I just wanted to mention it. I can post in the link below if I find it. So we're going to continue, and I'm just going to move this. This one is this is going to be the X. And this, so we put it here. This is going to be the, whoops, what did I do? Group selection, this, okay, so this one going to be the I, and this is going to be the Z. So we have that organized, super nice, sweet. So we have it like this, and it looks like this if you want to check it. So the next thing we're going to do. So now I want to add some kind of movement to them, so they are not static. And we're going to do that in the update. So we're going to add some noise. So here we set the position, and we're actually going to make a custom attribute, and it's going to be a vector of 3, and we're going to have it like a rest or grid position. So I'm going to copy this name because it's important we spell it correctly. So here we're actually setting the grid position. So here we can remove, just untick this set position for now. So we have the position stored in the grid position, and here we're going to do set position. And here we're just going to get the custom attribute, and it's going to be a vector 3. And we're going to get the grid position. So we put it here and put it here. So now it's back, and the reason we do this, because now we're going to save, we're going to edit the position, and when you set the position next frame, you have kind of edited the position. So we always want to refer to this default position, because this one we're only going to set in the initialize particle and never touch again. So, but now we can do the set position whatever we want. So we're going to make an add here, because now we're going to add a noise to this position. And we're going to make a noise and a 3D noise. And here we're going to put it in here to the coordinates. And I'm actually going to use the derivatives. So this is just a one float noise, but I actually want the free vertex, free vector noise, because now it's gonna go in all directions. So if you look here, you see it looks very non-uniform. But if we take this noise, you can actually see there is some kind of pattern to it. So if we use the derivatives, it gets more noisy. So we're going to have that, and we're going to have it animated. I'm going to make an add for it, and we're just going to offset the position. And we are going to use a VFX time. And we're going to multiply it. So we're going to take the total time. If we plug it in here, we have them moving. So this is nice. And so this is kind of the noise size. How big the noise is, kind of. So here I'm just going to do, we're going to have a time. So we're going to do like this. We're going to have a float, and this is going to be the noise speed. So we can control the noise speed from the outside. And it's going to be a range from 0 to 1. So we're going to have 0.1 as a default. So now we can control it. And also you see it's kind of big. It offsets a lot. So we're just going to make a multiply here. So we can make sure the noise is not that big. So we can control it later. I'm going to leave it for 35 maybe, and maybe that's perfect. So now they kind of move around a little bit, and I'm going to raise it so it gets even more non-uniform, and the speed a little bit less. So yeah, I think this is okay. So now we have it moving a little bit. So now I'm actually going to go back to this set size random and do it 0.5 to 1.2. And if we save, it's going to update, so it gets different sizes. So now we need the position of the player, and we also need a player. So if you have in the package manager downloaded this starter asset here, then you have a folder called samples in your asset, and you have this third person. So I'm gonna just put this scene in here, and then I'm gonna move the main camera, player, follow camera, player, armature. I'm just gonna move it into our scene and remove the other remove the other scene. So here, let's see, this camera here is the old camera, and the old camera I'm gonna delete because we can't have two. So here we have the main camera, that's the new camera. And also you see here we have the player. So, and that's our ref mesh. I'm gonna leave it. Maybe I want a reference to it. So if we now play, I'm just gonna make sure it works. And so here we have the player and it works, and you see it kind of disappear. So the reason is because the VFX center is placed over here in the center. So as long as we look at the VFX position, we will see it. But as long as we look outwards like this, it disappears. So the solution for this, we're just gonna place, let's see, happy face 1. We're gonna name that to VFX. So this VFX setup, we're just going to place it on the player. So whenever the player will always be in the scene, in the frame. So now we will always have it rendered and see it. And also we're going to have a script for this. And I had it since before, so I'm going to place it here. So I have this update player position script, and I'm going to show you. In this script, I just added Unity VFX, and I have this execute in edit mode. So it actually run the update in edit mode. So that's nice if I don't want to start play. I have this transform player and fade center. Fade center I'm gonna explain later. And this is the VFX itself. So here we're gonna set the player position and fade center. So just copy this stuff, and if you memorize player position, and in here we're gonna do a vector in the VFX graph, vector 3. And this is gonna be the player position. And we also gonna have a fade center position. So we're gonna have a fade position, fade center I had here, okay. So I'm gonna change it to fade center. So now we have that one here. So on the VFX object in the scene, we have placed this update player position. So then I'm just going to do the, let's see, we need a VFX itself. So I drag it here, and the player, I'm going to do a new game object. So I'm going to do the player center. So if you look here, the player center is down at the feet, but I want the eyes to look at the face to the player. So I'm moving this player center up to the head. And then the VFX want to have the player like this. So I'm going to do the fade center later. And now when we have this player position, now we're going to use that. And so we want, let's see, I'm going to do like this. So we see it at the same time. So now they all look. Okay. Also very important, we have this local, because now when I move the character, you see, we move everything. Because when we do the position here, we do it in local, but we need to change it to world position. So then you see here it says local, and we're just going to press it, and now you see it says world. So even though if we're going to move the VFX around, I guess we need to save it. If we try it one more time. Okay, so the thing was, I changed it to world here, and it didn't work. The reason is because here it says world, that's correct, but here the position is set in local. So we need to change that to world as well. So now even if we change the VFX position, this one, they will be in world position. So that's nice. So let's see, we have the player position here. And what we're going to do, we're going to make all faces look to the player. And we're going to have this output particle. We're going to do this orient advanced. So we're going to use this by using the Z axis. We're going to leave the Y axis as it is. It's kind of always going to be the upwards. So what we're going to do, we're going to have, we have the player position here. And then we're going to get the get position. And this is the particle position. So all the yellow heads, right? So if we do the player position and then we do a subtract, now we get the direction to the player. And if we do normalize, plug it in here, and now they all looking at the player. So if we take the player and move him around, you see they will all look at it all the time. So that's easy. So now we have that thing sorted out, and they always look at the head. So you see these ones, they look upwards, and these ones look downwards. So that's nice. So the last thing I want to do here is to scale. So I want to set the size on it. So we're going to make a set size, and we're going to not do it in update, but we're going to do it here in output particle. So now we do set it to 0.1, so they are a little bit small. But yet again, we're going to take get the position. And here we're going to use the fade center. So you could use the play position. Actually, we can start by using the player position here. So now we're going to take the distance. So we're going to do this distance between the player and all the happy faces. And we're going to make a lerp. So if we do a remap here, so the distance is going to be, if it's really close, it's going to be almost 0, and if it's really far away, it's going to be like 10. So we're going to measure the distance, and it's only first when the distance is 3 units. That's when it is starting to kind of scale from 0 and upwards. So we're going to, from the distance 3 units to 4 units, this is where it's going to be 0 size, and this is what it's going to be 1 size. And we're going to output 0 and 1. So whenever it's closer from 0 to 3, it's going to give us 0. And whenever it's 4 until anything, it's going to give us 1. And we're going to clamp it. So now we have something that gives us 0 to 1. And so when it's 0 here, means it's closer to the player and between 3 and from the up until 3. Then we're going to give 0 here, and that's why it's going to have 0 scale on the particle. And here, we're going to do get size. And then we get the size that we saved up here. And because we are not working in update, we can be sure we never overwrite the get size here, because we never set size. Actually, we set size, but it only sets size after update, so we never save the value. So if we now save this one, now you see it works. So if we do play, it should work. And here it is. So you see the fade is a little bit popping. It's not that smooth. So we're going to make it a little bit smoother. So that's the next step we're going to do. And we're going to use that. So here, this is from 0 to 1, this value. And it's not soft. So what I mean by that is if we do sample curve, if this is the fade we have now. So it's kind of 0, starting fade, stop. So it's kind of hard edges. If you do this curve here, it starts smoothly, start fade, smooth in smoothly. So we're going to use this one, and because this one reads between 0 and 1, it's going to be read between 0 and 1 here. So we just do time here and plug it in here. So now we're gonna have a smoother transition. So whenever we move this character, it's supposed to be a little bit smoother. So now you see it's kind of a little bit smoother when it starts to fade in and out. Super nice. So this is actually the tutorial, and I actually had it a little bit darker. So if you are curious how I made it, I'm going to show you. So the thing I did, I actually removed this directional light. And I also went into the render, lighting, and here in the environment, I made, let's see, environment lighting. I did color, and I'm gonna have it to black. Also reflections, gonna be a color. Or actually custom and leave it like this. So now I have it really black, and the player, I'm just gonna make light here, point light. So I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it up a bit. So we have it here, and it's placed on the player. So when I move this one around, it's gonna move with. So the point light, we're gonna do a little bit intense, a little bit more intense like this. And also here you see cooling mask. We have everything. So if you take the player, well, actually, first off, if you take the layer here, and then you do add layer, and you do player layer. Now, if you select the player armature, then you can take this layer and tick it so you have it on the player layer. And then in the point light, because we want to get rid of this light on the player, now we can just do cooling mask and remove player. So now it's only light on everything else. Unfortunately, I did, I'm gonna go back. So it's only the geometry I want to set to player. And I want to make sure this VFX is set to default. And now in that point light, I do player. No, sorry, keep that to Muse texture layer, or actually default. I don't know why that happened. Then down here in the cooling mask, remove player. So now when we play, you see we have a player. Isn't it super nice? So I really hope you liked this tutorial. So thank you so much for watching.